In this video, we will be installing LS lifters and some cylinder heads. The first step is to put a coat of oil on the lifters and the new lifter trays. The lifters have an oil hole. The orientation doesn't matter, but I still faced all the holes in the same direction. Place the lifters into the engine block. Some lifter trays are shaped differently, but these AC Delco replacements that I'm using have two indents that face downward. Put some Loctite on the small lifter tray bolt, then torque it down to 106 inch-pounds. Being careful not to crack the lifter tray by over-torquing the bolt. Install the new dowel pins. Moving on to the valley cover. Wipe down the cover with a solvent. Install the new knock sensor seals, being careful not to damage the rubber. Wipe down the gasket surface, then place a new gasket on the valley. Place the valley cover on the engine, then snug down the bolts. Torque down the valley cover bolts to 18 pound-feet. Install the knock sensors with some anti-seize on the threads. Torque down the knock sensors to 15 pound-feet. Moving on to the cylinder heads. Wipe down the head gasket surface with a solvent and a lint-free wipe. I used a coffee filter. The new GM MLS head gasket is installed next. The front label on the gasket obviously faces forward. Place the cleaned and prepped cylinder head on the block. The ARP head bolts go in next. Wipe off any anti-corrosion coatings on the washers and bolts. Then put ARP Ultra Torque lube on the bolt threads and underneath the head. In hindsight, I should have used a lot more of this Ultra Torque lube on the bolts that I installed. The washers have a chamfer on one side. That chamfer faces the head of the bolt. This allows the radius underneath the bolt head to fit properly. Early LS engines have two shorter head bolts on the ends of the cylinder heads. The larger ARP bolts are torqued in three sequences, starting with 25 pound-feet, 50 pound-feet, and then finishing at 75 pound-feet, while the smaller valley bolts are torqued last. It can be helpful to have a buddy hold the engine when you do the final torquing pass. The small valley head bolts are torqued last in one pass. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram.